Hey, welcome back to another edition of the Film Geeks Quarantine podcast, and hi to the two people who are watching us live right now. So, Extraction is the latest Netflix original, and of course, it's the main event. Right after this, we will be going on to FG Quiz. Extraction, it came out yesterday, and it stars Chris Hemsworth, Rudraksh Jaiswal, some guy, Randeep Hooda, Priyanshu Penyuli, I don't know who the fuck these people are, Golshifteh Farhani, Suraj Rikarne, David Harbour, and Adam Bessa. So basically, the plot is Tyler Rake. He's a black market mercenary who has nothing left to lose. So basically, he's contracted by this Indian gangster who is in jail and played by Pankaj Tripathi, who makes a 30-second appearance. And he hires this guy to go out and rescue his son, who has been kidnapped by this Bangladeshi gangster from Bombay. So that's basically the plot. I have a lot of thoughts about this film. There are stuff which are genuinely good, but a lot of stuff which I did not enjoy. Let's start with you, Ishwar. Did you watch Extraction?
Yeah, I watched it last night. I had to say, okay, so the first thing that struck my mind was when I watched the poster, when I saw the poster from the visionary directors of Avengers Endgame. I laughed my ass off for a couple of seconds, but then I started watching the movie. It was basically, okay, so given that we've actually watched all of these characters at some point or another as some kind of a superhero iteration, it's basically Thor trying to save a kid and gets screwed over by Hellboy. That's basically my movie. And that was how I processed the entire movie. Thor saves kid, gets screwed over by Hellboy, and something happens, and that ending. I mean, yeah. I mean, it was fun. The action choreography was fantastic. I've never seen Thor do hand-to-hand combat like that. But otherwise, it was a fun, action film. But otherwise, the plot points kind of went over my head. Some of the action sequences, obviously, as is the case, you have to have this willing suspension of disbelief. I kind of had to stomach it when, trucks and cars collided with actual human bodies. But otherwise, it was good fun.
We'll get into the plot details in a bit. Adil, what did you think of Extraction? Your initial thoughts?
The initial thoughts is like, the trailer said it's like pure action movie. There's nothing else. Like you said, Godzilla kind of thing. There's no human connection. Like you go in for the monsters. Extraction is the same thing. You just go in for the action. That's it.
I think you can't compare action movies with monster movies.
No.
And I'll get into it why in a bit. Yeah. But
story wise, there's nothing to do. I mean, characters are just there to either die or just to do some random hand-to-hand combat. That's it. Or to kill. That's it. Or just get killed. That's it. I mean, there's nothing more to it. Just watch it once, and I think there's no point in complaining because you exactly know what you're getting into. I mean, read the trailers, read the non-spoiler reviews or whatever you call it. I mean, there's nothing to it. Just watch it and get over with it, man. That's it. For a bad day, just go watch some other movie after that. That's it.
It's just number one. Let's get this straight. There's nothing to spoil. There is nothing.
Exactly. There is no story.
You can read the whole Wikipedia article written in detail by some idiot who has dedicated like half an hour to 1 hour to write a very eloquent piece of description. But it will still not take away from the viewing experience because that's not what you're going in for. The story is not what you are going in for. And I said this last week that if I'm going to watch it, I'm not too excited about it. And if I'm going to watch it, I'm going to watch it like I watch a Rohit Shetty movie. Dimag bahar rakhe. And मैं Rohit Shetty movie देखता नहीं हूँ, by the way. I don't watch it. Please don't think that I do that on a regular experience. But the first one that I watched was in Bangalore, by the way. Abhishek, shout out. Just because it's in Bangalore. The point is that the action is truly phenomenal in some places. I mean, it's just not just the hand-to-hand, the way I do like gun violence. I do like gun violence when it's more realistic. It should not be unrealistic. That's why I really like Equilibrium, where it was a little unrealistic, but it was still good gun violence, gun violence, martial arts, and all that stuff. It's just definitely a movie that you should watch. But in this case, the action is truly phenomenal and stuff. Some scenes, which is why I think that you should watch it for the action movie that it
Action
is,
alone, yes.
and that's actually it. And your logic, Abhishek, that you can't compare it to monster movies, I don't think that applies, man. दिमाग बाहर रख के अगर देखना ही है तो it applies to all genres, whether it's that or biopics or whatever. I personally hate biopics, so
He's put himself on mute.
yeah, of course he has. He'll explain himself in a while when his turn comes. But I genuinely think that it's a one-time watch. You can enjoy it, definitely enjoy it a lot for the action. But if you're expecting anything else, you will be sorely disappointed. And one thing that I really disliked about this movie was the fucking ending. It is what actually just destroys the entire movie. I watched that and I was like, damn it.
Anand, I have an interesting point about that. I'll come to that later. Just the ending. Let's save it for that.
Yes, I know what you're going to speak about, but of course. So as you can see, there are three very neutral people. One not on the fence. Well, two people definitely not on the fence on either side of the fence. And interestingly enough, both of them are brothers. One definitely thinks this is the one of the worst piece of shit movies to come out yesterday. One doesn't quite agree. Arindam, I think you are on the positive side of that thing. So,
I'm always on the positive side. Yeah, let everyone get their venom out because I'm a positive person and this is a positive, like, because, you know, there's so much death and destruction in the world already. Like, the president of the United States is asking people to inject themselves with Lysol. So, yeah, we are kind of podcast which tries to put more positive energy into this world. So I'll go in last. Abhishek.
What the fuck? Okay. So suddenly it turned into a fucking art of living like podcast. Like anyway, so the scene is this. Okay, if you watch the trailer for the film, that is the film. That is the extent of the film. I'm not saying that there are things which you can't enjoy, but then again, if you give it enough rope, you can enjoy anything basically. But I love action films, and I'm a huge fan. If you've known me on the group also, I have like very strong thoughts on when it comes to action films, and I like my action films which have a little bit of character work, because I grew up watching 80s and 70s action films, and these films, especially the 80s ones, were known for great character work. Here, there is none. You don't care about anyone. You don't know anything about these characters. Till in one stilted speech, which Tyler Rake, or whatever the fuck his name is, he gives, barring that, there is nothing which builds up to this character. And you're talking about like, you can't compare it to monster movies and all. Here is one example, okay? One of the most generic action films, which is awesome just by the performance and just because of the character, that's Commando. What do you know about John Matrix? You know exactly what he is within the first 5 minutes of that movie. There is nothing which goes on into exponential depth about his character and all. Do you know why you should care about this guy within the first 5 minutes of that? That is what separates action movies which are made now to the ones which were made in the 80s and the 90s.
Okay, character work. If you talk about character work, let's go back to that era itself and let's take Rambo. Rambo first movie, let's keep that aside. Can you explain to me the character work that has gone into those Rambo movies?
Because I don't see any. People. You can't say you discount the first movie and then uske baad se dekho. You can't do that. That is the first movie. Whatever has been established about Rambo has been established there.
No, but Rambo 1 and Rambo 3, they are on different sides of the fence.
And they are not the same character. You take first Rambo, the Rambo who was in First Blood is not the same one when he was in Afghanistan or even in Vietnam. Not the same character at all.
That is not what I'm talking about. I'm saying that if you are establishing a character in like a particular film, like you established John Matrix in Commando, you know exactly what you have to know about this guy from the very first 5 minutes. Now bring that to this movie, which is basically trying to be a commando. If you look at the story and everything, it is basically trying to be commando, right? Made for the modern times. This is basically it. That is the feeling I got from the trailer also. That this movie is trying to be the commando for 2020. But however, it fails because it doesn't have that. One of the most important parts of every great action film, and this right from the James Bond film, the proto action films of the 60s, like James Bond and all of that, right to the 70s when you had the French Connection, and to the 80s when you had your Arnold flicks, and to the 90s when you had your Keanu Reeves and stuff like that, are great side characters. You always have to have interesting side characters. You always want to, have these people you want to watch, who you want to hang out with, or actually want to know better. Why do you think Scaramanga, who is one of the worst James Bond films ever, is one of the most iconic villains of all time? Because he is a fantastic villain. Out here, there are no fucking villains. Who is this Bangladeshi Chut, man? I don't give a fuck about this Chut here.
Hey, low cost Escobar, hai bhai.
Low cost Escobar.
And that is not the point of this. Again, you are.
What is the point of this? This is a fucking review. I'm telling you. No?
Yeah, you're talking about putting in character work and all that, and I'm saying is that it's not necessary because I watched it for the action. I could have seen all of these clips on YouTube and I would have been equally satisfied, is what I'm saying.
No, but
I'm not saying that it's a good movie.
For me personally, I cannot separate action from character work. If it is a movie, if it's a long narrative, there has to be character works, because the movie.
But you do.
What's his name? Chris Hemsworth is not getting hit. The movie screeches to a halt whenever there is a quiet moment. The movie completely stops.
You know why I'm a little happy? Because last week Anir said that action sequences don't carry a movie, and now he's defending it. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
That's basically what I'm trying to say, because this movie stops every time there was every time the action stopped. There was literally nothing going on. Who gives a shit what happened to this guy? This was like, I'll give you an example, okay? You remember Indiana Jones 4?
Yeah.
Where Ray Winston and Indiana Jones talk about some shit which happened in the past. That was the movie you were more interested in. I was more interested in what happened between David Harbour and this fucking guy, where he saved his life. That was the movie I wanted to watch, rather than this inept piece of shit. Okay, the 11-minute long talk, like fake long take, that was fine. Okay, that was kinetic action. There were some issues which it was fine. It was okay. No complaints, fine. You can watch that. After that, that was the main event, dude. The final scene geography just blew my mind. How big is this bridge? Why can't he get from one part to the other? How big is this? He needs fucking the Rainbow Bridge or what now? Like, he can't cross. And then where was this job? Just the logic behind that film, dude. I mean, I'll get into it later. Arindam, what did you make of it, and why do you like it so much?
See, it's again, I did not say that I liked it so much. Read all my comments that I've said so far. I don't know why everyone is assuming that I really love this movie and this is like the be all end all of things. Okay, so where I saw this video once on, like, it was a video essay in which they said that if you're going to watch a biopic, always think of the movie Walk Hard. Like, what are the things that they do there? Like, the things that they do in the movie Walk Hard are something that should not be repeated while you're watching a biopic. If that movie, so if they're doing things like that, that means that the movie has failed as a biopic, because it's telling you the same story that you have already seen like 1,000 times. So when almost during the last maybe 15 minutes, when there was that over dramatic scene that was taking place in the bridge, Chris Hemsworth is getting shot, and it was like slow-mo to make Zack Snyder come. So when that was taking place, all I could think about was, this is exactly what they do in Tropic Thunder, when Ben Stiller falls down on his knees and they have the music going on.
Platoon.
When they made fun of the Platoon thing in Tropic Thunder. So this is exactly what they were doing. This movie follows every bad cliche that is there in action movies that you can think of. There's not one redeeming factor in those, like, when they pull the cliches, especially when you have writers like, I thought some weird guy wrote it, but it was the Russos. The Russos, they write well. I mean, like, look at the television stuff that they have done. They are good writers. But They should have written to the strength of the director. The director is a stuntman, and I think it showed because when people are criticizing the action scenes, they do not see the camera placement in those. Remember that shot in which the guy hits the head and falls on bricks? Someone who is not an action movie, who's not into stunts, wouldn't be placing the camera that way. You could exactly feel when that guy hits his back on that brick, which is laying down there below. Like you can miss these things, but there are those placements in which which make for the maximum impact. That is why the sound design I thought was fantastic for this movie. My wife, she literally said that she wanted to puke during that first scene in which, all that rake stuff is happening because it felt so visible. I think those things were good, and it was the fault of the script. I would say the screenplay was really bad for this one. It did not take advantage of, because it's a first-time director is doing, so you should have written it to his advantage. And this is a close-knit group. It was directed by Hemsworth. It's produced by the guy who was the stuntman for Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth.
It was
talking about the director
by the stunt coordinator, produced by Hemsworth.
It was no. I'm saying that. Yeah, produced and acted. I'm just saying that they're a tight-knit group, so they know each other. It's not like they don't know who is going to direct it. They had that in mind.
Okay, I have two questions for you. One is directed towards you and one is for everyone. The second bit can be a rhetorical question, but whatever. The first question towards you is, I agree the first bit of the movie which was shot, because this is a movie, mind you, it is in production since Endgame. Since Endgame wrapped up, Hemsworth went and made this movie. So I think that there has been a gap in the production of this film, right? Which is why, the first 20 minutes look awesome, and then it looks like a disposable garbage, right? So my question to you is, why is it that the first 20 minutes, by your own admission, you can feel every punch, and then the scene geography is garbage?
I'm not really sure if I don't think the scene geography was garbage to say, but I think it peaks too early. The movie peaks really. It should have been cut down. There were parts, the David Harbour part, certainly it's just there because maybe David Harbour was a friend and he wanted to be in the movie. You take that part of the movie out, it's the same. It doesn't really matter. Also, this movie shows us how good an actor Randeep Hooda is, because more than Chris Hemsworth, I was rooting for his character. Obviously, you get to know more about his character, but this guy, he really nailed the role. He was really good at it. It showed, his intensity was right up there. Chris Hemsworth just sleepwalked through this role. I did not like his performance at all. I thought he was the weakest part.
Chris Hemsworth hasn't been good in anything since, I think, Avengers.
I disagree.
Infinity War. I don't think he's been good in anything.
That
I'm
may be
not a huge fan of his.
Also,
anyway, my second question is, this has been scripted by Joe Russo, right? Do you think that if it was not Joe Russo, anyone could have made this film? Because this is the Netflix. This is what I was coming at when you guys were talking about the other Netflix films. Netflix Originals has this policy where they take a first-time or a second-time scriptwriter or a first-time or second-time director, and they throw a star at them or something like that, and they make a movie. That is probably what most of the time why Netflix Originals don't work. So if it was some other guy, and he came up with this script, I don't think this movie would have gone past the pre-production stage. It was just because it was Joe Russo, I think this movie was made, and because these guys made the biggest film in the history of films, probably that's the only reason why this movie was made.
I don't think the Russos will ever hear the word no going into any production office, ever.
Yeah.
That is something.
People have said the same about people I don't know, man. You never know. You never know about these things.
Okay, I'd like to ask this to all of you. How did you feel about the portrayal of Bangladesh in this movie?
It felt like an Indian Mexico or a subcontinent Mexico.
That's what you said last time, right, Arindam?
Yeah. Because this is supposed to be Mexico. This fucking story is set in Mexico. It was called Ciudad. It's based on some graphic novel, which Manoj pointed out on the group today. It's supposed to be Mexico, and Arindam actually joked last time that this looks like India's version or subcontinent's version of Mexico with the yellow filter on. It is supposed to be that. There is a fucking Day of the Dead celebration in this goddamn film. What is the production designer doing? Where is the research? That is literally
I thought it was quite brave of them to have them speak their own language. Like especially the first 10-15 minutes of the movie, it's totally in Hindi. When they go back there, it's totally in Bangla.
I don't
So
think
that's
that guy
No.
who plays the
Yeah, it's not like full on.
Yeah, he
Bangla.
wasn't Bengali. That guy was the worst guy. He had the worst accent. It had that second-hand accent, because you see that in Bengali movies when they bring on non-Bengali actors, they have this very weird accent that you can instantly see that this guy is in Bengali. So that was happening. Also, some people are pointing out that Hindi gana itna kyun baj raha hai? Dude, Hindi songs are this famous in Bangladesh. Like,
my problem is not with Hindi songs. It was only with the fact that they were all Kumar Sanu songs.
Yeah, itna famous hai bhai. It's like any Indian barbershop that you walk into the Northeast.
Which is true.
Kumar Sanu ka gana kafi famous hai wahan pe.
Arey, Kumar Sanu is
We
legendary.
literally call it saloon music, man.
Yeah.
Kumar Sanu is
We call
legendary,
it saloon
especially
music
in
because
West Bengal, right?
It's bordering Bangladesh, right? So every second saloon or butcher shop you go to is owned by a Bangladeshi. They keep on playing this kind of music only. So the music is not a problem. The problem was
That is quite legit.
The problem was the portrayal, which was kind of cringy, man. It was like very cliched, and all of these actors were wasted, including Chris Hemsworth.
Every Bangladeshi is a bad guy. There's like one redeeming. Like not one character, but even the kids.
Lunch khane gaya hoga. I think he had gone to for a lunch break or some shit because he's shooting Mirzapur. I don't know when Mirzapur will come out. Fucking coronavirus, 2-3 wave khatam ho jayega. Mother chod Mirzapur nahi aayega. But I think he's still busy with Mirzapur. I think he was on a break or some shit. He was just there. He was dressed as Akhandanand Tripathi there also. Like every fucking thing about this movie, and I think Anshuman yesterday pointed out on the group that this was a terrible movie. I retorted with saying, no, it was fine. Then I went to the loo, I came back and I was watching the ceiling and I was thinking about this movie. And the more I thought, this has happened to me once before and this was during VBS. But let's not get into that. When I thought about it, the more I started hating this film. I was like, nothing makes sense here.
You know what didn't make sense to me? Why did Randeep Hooda make a heel turn? And then I thought of it, okay, they do make clear that, these guys, they didn't have money to pay off the mercenary. Yeah, so that was a little...
Like the plan only is garbage.
Yeah, like, it's a total garbage plan.
Congress ka election agenda makes more sense than this bullshit. Basically, kya bolta hai wo log? They say we'll hire an Australian guy to go and pick this kid up. And we'll give them half the money. Fine. आधा पैसा तो डूब गया ना अगर तुमको फोकट में लेना था so why don't you send Randeep Hooda then they bring in that common sense कि Chris Hemsworth will take out everyone and we can extract the kid that way. If that is the case, why the fuck are you having Randeep Hooda attack him in the first place?
Maybe he wanted to kill him
together. That didn't make sense. That, like I said, weak screenplay, weak story. And suddenly they realized that okay, Randeep Hooda is on our side.
I think Ishwar is completely confused. See, for instance, Ishwar, I hire you to kill Adil.
Okay.
But to kill Adil, no. I also tell what's his face, Arindam, to go and kill Adil. But Arindam, I haven't paid money.
Right.
Okay. To rescue Adil. But you also have to go and rescue him. Why the fuck would you want to kill Arindam, dude?
Oh, my friend kept on asking that question, like, by ho kya raha hai? Like, why are two people doing the same job?
No, I'm trying to figure out, maybe he wanted to kill Hemsworth off so that he wouldn't have to pay him the rest of the money or something like that.
But they were not
paying. He didn't have the money in the first place because all the assets were frozen. That's what it's very confusing storytelling. And
go to the comment section, see what the people have to say.
Yeah, it's all in, For the Love of Comics points out that it was Paraguay, not Mexico. And also
South America sub same.
Yeah.
Except for Brazil. Brazil is different.
So, okay, I'll talk about what I liked about this movie because it has been a hate fest till now. I think the casting was done pretty well except for the main Bangladeshi baddie. I don't know why, for the love of God, they couldn't hire an actress from Bangladesh or even just get Bumba Da, yaar. He would be perfect. Like Bengali actor hai, Prashanjit would be perfect on this role. Like he would ham it up.
Prashanjit doesn't do Netflix. Prashanjit only does matinee.
So Prashanjit would be good in that role. I think chalta tha wo kafi. Other than that, what I liked was the hand-to-hand combat, man. especially that scene from the cars, the shifting of these are things that you've already watched in Raid 2. Okay, this is just like a remix of that. It's nothing new, but it was done really well.
My
The
issue
whip.
was with the trucks and the cars banging bodies and shit.
Ah, dude, fuck! I thought that guy died, man. When
Yeah.
he, truck,
It was
he gets hit with a truck and he doesn't even.
both of them do in the span of 2 minutes. Randeep Hooda gets hit twice. Once by a car. Chris Hemsworth gets hit.
Hemsworth gets hit with the car. Then
The truck scene, that was very bad VFX though. I thought
The
like, you
truck
could
crashing
tell that
and burning, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
That
No,
was very.
that truck burning is different. When it hit the Huda, that and him flying is so fake that you see and you're like, there's
Well,
something wrong.
that was funny.
I really
I don't know
like-
if you guys will like it or not. It was funny. I found it
I
funny.
really like one
I mean,
scene.
they're going in for this whole.
And
realistic
all that happens is like one nose break. Okay, nothing else break.
Yeah.
One scene which I really liked was this dude, man. Him bitch slapping these Bengali kids.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that
Fuck,
is probably my
scene was
favorite.
cathartic. Because I know these kind of people, okay? And he was like, bat, karke, one jab.
That scene was choreographed
Going
beautifully
flying,
because
dude.
kids were there, na. So that scene was
Goonies from
beautiful.
hell.
I thought I was
Maro-
back. Chala, I thought I was back in Agartala. So much boka choda going on in that scene.
That kid was so irritating. The guy who couldn't load his gun, and then the way he gives
Dude,
him
he gets
some
hit
whack.
with the door of a car, man.
Yeah,
He gets slammed into the door of a car. That was like some of the best. Like I almost, if it was in theater, I would have cheered. And I would have
Other than that,
probably
I think,
glared at the
you
child
know,
beside me.
there's things that we say about cult movies in which when they come out, they aren't received well. But you go back a couple of you go after a couple of years and then you suddenly remember, oh yeah, I used to like this movie. I don't think this will happen now because the content that's coming out at this rate, the shelf life of movies has reduced like anything. So, but I still do believe that this movie has everything to has the potential to be a cult hit. People will come
But
back
then
to
again,
it.
cult movies, there is one thing about cult movies is that there are things which are very unique about all cult movies. Like no other movies have that. Or no other movies do it as well as that cult movie. Like for instance, Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead is like universally acclaimed also. It's one of the all-time greatest
Now
horror
it's
movies.
universally acclaimed. Back in
But
the
I'm
90s,
talking about movies like Running Scared and Shoot 'Em Up. So these kind of movies, like they Boondock Saints, take that like.
yeah, but Boondock
And
Saints
these
has
movies-
Boondock Saints has some amazing choreography. This movie, I don't think, barring that first 11 minutes, I don't think it has that.
I think just for that, people might just come back. Of course, there's YouTube now that For the Love of Comics mentions that there should be a classification of wait for YouTube clips. Like people might just go back and check the YouTube clip for that entire scene. Of course, Netflix will upload it within next month maybe. So that reduces the shelf life and which might prevent it from becoming a cult hit later on. But I totally believe that this has all the ingredients needed for it to become a cult movie, cult hit later on. That's my
Okay,
take.
final thoughts. This is one of the first movies that we have reviewed as the podcast has come back.
I have one
You guys
last
have like
point.
a rating scale in which we should do it. Let's do it live.
I think A to E should do. Can I just have one more point that Anir had brought up earlier regarding the ending? So I have this pitch that I came up with. I shared it on the Facebook group also. I'll just share it here live and I'll make some things up along the way. So in the last scene, we see that movie, he goes down to the swimming pool, he comes up and there's a figure.
Yeah.
Right, and we're not really sure if that's Hemsworth or if it's not. It's that typical totem ending. So what happens right after that is this is my pitch for the sequel. So he comes up and then he turns around and there's no one. So he goes to school. He goes to sleep. There's a chair. He suddenly notices there might be someone sitting. He turns that way. There is nobody over there. He goes to his father. He says that I think I'm being haunted by this Tyler Rake guy. So like, what should I do? And his father, Pankaj Tripathi, is still in jail. He's like, "Itna kuch to karne ka hai." So I really don't have time for this shit. I have a twin brother who is a paralogist, who is in this place called Chanderi in Madhya Pradesh. And he has recently done shit like this. He deals with paranormal activities. So I think I should send you there. He goes over there. So if you guys aren't familiar with Chanderi, it was featured in this movie called Stree, which starred Shraddha Kapoor, Rajkumar Rao, and Pankaj Tripathi as a paralogist. So these guys, they are a makeshift Ghostbusters kind of thing. So they come to the conclusion that Tyler Rake, when he fell down, because he had done some evil deeds in his life, and as a final act, he was saving someone, he is stuck in limbo. So these a group of paranormal, these Ghostbusters basically, they need to go. That river that he fell into, that also became a sort of the river of the dead, and then they need to get back Chris Hemsworth's soul back. And the movie is called Extraction 2: Afterlife. Thank you very much.
I have a counter pitch. Can I pitch my counter pitch with this?
Yeah, sure. Since you're doing it.
Yeah, since you're doing it, might as well. So basically, what happens is I will stick with your familiar premise. Okay. So this dude is being haunted. He sees this guy everywhere, and at this time he's also continuing with his life. He's studying and all of that. So he goes abroad. Okay, he goes to New York to study. And as he goes into New York, he starts dating this girl. And he tells him, he tells this girl, this and that, I am seeing these things and all of that. So he was like, yeah, one of my aunts used to work as a paranormal researcher back in in the early 2000s and stuff. So he goes there and he talks to her and
she's Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh yeah, I thought so.
She's Whoopi Goldberg, isn't she?
You guys have zero patience and also zero patience. So he says, I have, this uncle of mine who is basically, this aunt of mine who used to work with these women, and they were kind of paranormal researchers and stuff like that. Why don't you go and talk to them? So he goes, and this woman shows a picture of Tyler Rake, and he was like, yeah, this guy used to be a receptionist.
I knew it.
Where is he now? He was like, no, this guy was a mercenary. He was like, yeah, after some incident in 2016 in New York, you guys, we kind of kept it on a down low. He went on a hiatus, and he, I don't know what happened to him. He probably trained because something in him changed. So they go back to Bangladesh, and basically it's the Ghostbusters going to Bangladesh to get the soul, to give this guy eternal peace. However, as they deep dive into the river, they find that it's covered in sludge. So basically, Tyler Rake right now is Slimer. Okay.
This episode was in Ghostbusters, right?
Yeah. I'm pitching Ghostbusters 2.
So that's a Men in Black 3 pitch. Or Men in Black 4 at this rate.
Okay, so I think
I know. Arindam, you can counter pitch. Not
terrible movie.
From where I am.
Terrible. So terrible. Mine was so much better.
As they come out.
No, both of yours were terrible.
No, because I just came up with it.
Okay, I think let's have a final ratings and then we'll get on with FG quiz.
Yeah.
So let's scale it from A to E. A for best, 5 stars. E would make it, or just have stars.
Best,
or we could just say recommended or non-recommended.
Okay, I'll start off with the rating itself. I'll give it a B minus. I think it's a good one-time watch with potential. So if you want if you have watched Raid already and you want to watch a decent cover version, I think you should go for it. What about you?
I'll go next.
Yeah.
I'll go next. I would give it a D. It's an absolute failure of character work. It's barring a couple of decent action sequences, it's a complete waste of time. Don't go for it. It's a complete failure if you're a fan of any of these actors who are a part of this. Anirban.
I'll give it a C. I'll give it a C minus. No.
C minus बोल दो भाई, मैं भी C minus ही बोलने वाला था.
C minus is like it's a middle of the road movie. You watch it, ठीक है, you'll enjoy the actions. You don't watch it, you're not missing out on.
Missing out on anything. Yes, exactly same.
Same as me then. It's a C from me. Like I'm bang in the middle. It's not a C minus. It's not a C plus. It's a C. Perfectly balanced as all things should be.
There you go. It's a fairly middling to bad movie. So you can make up your mind. If you really want to watch it for the action scenes, do it. But like Abhishek said, don't watch it for the screenplay, story, or the characters.
Recommended with caution.
Not recommended at all, but it's on Netflix and people have a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah.
That's it for another edition of the Film Geeks podcast. We definitely had a lot of fun. Thank you again, Sarthak, Anshuman, and Ishwar. A quick plug: you guys can check out FTLOC comics on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Amazing comic book content. So please go ahead, hit like, share, subscribe, and all that. Do the same for us as well. If you guys are watching us for the first time on the Film Geeks group, or have you guys have just stumbled across this podcast, please do like and share and subscribe to our content. We try to come up with a podcast every Saturday. Well, please live. We try to go live every Saturday. Thank you very much. You guys can my brother on Instagram too. See you. Bye bye. Take care. Go Corona. Go. Jai Mata Di. Let's rock.
Happy Ramzan to everyone.
Oh yeah.
Happy Ramzan.
Happy Ramzan.
Adil.
And Hussein and Fuzail.
Yes.
Our regular listener.
And where's
And
Hussein?
fellow podcaster. Hello. Thanks, guys.
Ran away.
I'll be closing this.
Guys.
Thank you, guys, again.
Bye.
Chalo, bye. Peace out.
Bye.